Wendy, what does this mean?
Merely that I'm engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Come here. Sit down. Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, of physical weakness in the old. Apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin, I followed her here by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression that she is attending a more than usual lengthy lecture at the University Extension Scheme on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I have never undeceived him on any question. Consider it wrong. But of course, you will understand clearly that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm.
I am engaged to be married to Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now as regards Algernon. Algernon!
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
May I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
No. Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
Oh, I killed Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Oh, Bunbury, he was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
My dear Aunt Augusta, what I mean to say is, he was found out. The doctors found out that he could not live anymore, and so Bunbury died.
He must have had great confidence in the opinions of his physicians. However, I am glad he has made up his mind at the last, so definitely and acted under proper medical advice. And now that you finally got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask Mr. Worthing, who is that young girl whose hand my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I'm engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I do not know whether there is anything particularly exciting in the air in this part of Hertfordshire. The number of engagements to go on seems to me considerably above the proper average such statistics have laid down for our guidance. I think some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. From Mr. Worthing, is Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? Information. As of yesterday, I was not aware that there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, SW, Gervais Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Sporran, Fifeshire, NB.
That sounds not unsatisfactory. 3 addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity?
I have carefully preserved the court guides of the period. They are open to your inspection, Lady Bracknell.
I have known strange errors in that publication.
Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby.
Markby, and Markby? A firm with a very high position in their profession. Indeed, I'm told one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. So far, I am satisfied.
How extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell. I have also in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, both the English and the German variety.
Well, I'm crowded with incident, I see. Though perhaps somewhat too exciting for a young girl. I am not myself in favour of premature experiences. Come, Gwendolyn. Time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I'd better ask if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, about £130,000 in the funds, that is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you.
No news, Mr. Worthing. £130,000. And in the funds. Miss Cardew seems to be a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Few girls have any solid qualities, any solid qualities that last and improve with time, we live, I regret to say, in an age of services. Come over here, dear. Pretty child. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair almost as nature might have left it. But we can soon alter all that. A thoroughly experienced French maid can produce a really marvellous result in a very brief space of time. Indeed, I remember recommending one to young Lady Lansing, and after 3 months her own husband did not know her.
After 6 months, nobody knew her.
Kindly turn over, sweet child. No, the side view is what I want. Yes, quite as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The two weak points in our age are its want of principle and its want of profile. The chin a little high, dear. Style largely depends on the way the chin is worn. It is worn very high just at present. Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Carty's profile.
Cecily is the dearest, sweetest, prettiest girl in the whole world. I don't care tuppence about social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. Of course, dear child, you know that Algernon has nothing but his desk to depend upon. But I do not approve of mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had little fortune of any kind. But I would never dream of allowing that to stand in my way. Yeah. I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may consent.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
You may also address me as Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
I do not approve of long engagements. They give people the opportunity of finding out more about each other's characters before marriage. I think it's never advisable.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardinal's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
Upon what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, I may almost say, ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more can one desire?
It pains me very much to have to speak frankly to you, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew, but the fact is I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible. He is not so.
I fear there can be no possible doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London on an important question of romance, he obtained admission to my house by means of the false pretense of being my brother. Under an assumed name, he drank, I have just been informed by my butler, an entire pint bottle of my Perrier Jouet Brut 89, wine I was specially reserving for myself. Continuing his disgraceful deception, he succeeded, in the course of the afternoon, in alienating the affections of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin. And what makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he was perfectly well aware from the first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I don't intend to have a brother, not even of any kind. I distinctly told him so myself yesterday afternoon.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I've decided to entirely overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Come over here, dear. How old are you?
Really, I'm 18, but I admit to 20 when I go to evening parties.
You are quite right in making some slight alteration. Indeed, no woman should ever be quite so accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18, but admitting to 20 at evening parties. Well, it will not be long before you do come of age and are free from the restraints of tutelage. And so I do not think your guardian's consent is, after all, a matter of any importance.
Pray excuse me, Lady Bracknell, for interrupting you again, but it is only fair to tell you that according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardinal does not legally come of age until she is 35.
That does not seem to me a grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. Indeed, London society is full of women of the very highest birth who have, of their own free choice, remained 35 for years. Lady Dumpton, large accumulation of property.
Algy, could you wait for me until I was 35?
Of course I could, Cecily. You know I could.
Yes, I felt instinctively that you would. But I couldn't wait all that time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. I'm not punctual myself, I know, but I expect punctuality in others. And waiting, even to be married, is quite out of the question.
Then what is to be done, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrief.
Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew positively states that she cannot wait till she is 35, a remark which I am bound to say seems to show a somewhat impatient nature, I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But, my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendolen, I will most gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must be quite aware that what you propose is out of the question.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us can look for.
That is not the destiny that I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, can choose for himself. Come on, we've missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir? Is that not somewhat premature?
Both of these men have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age, the idea is grotesque and egregious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excess. Lord Bracknell would be highly displeased if he learned that this is a way in which you wasted your time and money.
I like to understand then there'll be no christenings at all this afternoon.
I don't think that, as things are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
I'm grieved to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. They savour the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views which are completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. But, as your particular mood seems to be peculiarly secular, I will turn at once to the church. Indeed, I've just been informed that for the past hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism?
Yes.
Did I hear you mention Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I'm going to her now.
Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a thing of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies, the very pitch of respectability.
It is obviously the same woman. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
I'm celibate, madam. No, Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been for the last 3 years Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion.
Despite what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
Look, she approaches. She is 9.
I was told you expected me in the vestry, Hannah. I've been waiting for you there for an hour and 3/4.
Prism? Come here, Prism. Prism? Where is that baby? 28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104 of Grosvenor Square, in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, under the elaborate investigations of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was found at midnight standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained a manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usual revolting sentimentality. The baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mention, a day that is forever branded on my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out of his perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I can never forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?